Hi everybody, we're taking a look at our problems today. Today we're looking at MAD, which is short for mean absolute deviation, and MAD tells us how far various numbers are in our data set are from the mean. So we have three steps here. The first step is we need to calculate the mean. So let's do that. Calculate the mean, we need to add all these numbers up. So we're going to do 20 plus 90 plus 25 plus 100 plus 95 plus 30, and then divided by the number of values that we have in our data set. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to find our mean, we know how to do this. We're just finding the average of all the numbers. So we're going to add up each of these values here and then divide it by the number of values that we have. So that's going to be 360. If we add all those up, divided by 6, which gives us 60. So if we take a look at our data set, if we're to kind of plot this out here, we have 60 as our mean. And then we have a bunch of values. We have 20, 25, 30, and on this end we have 90, 95, and 100. And we're going to be doing with our mean absolute deviation is we're going to be calculating the distance from each of these points over here to the mean. So we want to find the distance, how far we are there. We'll take the average of that to see how far away from the mean each of these points are. So our second step is going to be calculate the MAD, and to do that we need to find the absolute value of the difference between each point and the mean. So the absolute value between each point, so let's start with 20 minus the mean of 60. So we get the absolute value there, so that's going to be the absolute value of negative 40, which is just going to give us 40 right there. So we're going to do that for each of our points. We're going to find the absolute value of each point and the difference there between that and the mean. So that there would be 40. So we're going to do that now. Sorry, that's MAD with a D. So next point is going to be 90 minus 60. It's going to be the absolute value of 90 minus 60 is 30, so that's just going to be 30. Then our next point is going to be 25. 25 minus 60. Absolute value of that is going to be negative 15. And our absolute value of that is going to be 15. Next, we're going to do 100 minus 60. That's going to give us 40. And then I have two more. I'll do it up here. 95 minus 60, which is going to give us 35. And then I'll do it up here as well. We'll draw a little line there. I'll do it over here. It's going to be absolute value of 30 minus 60, which just gives us 30. Alrighty, awesome. So what we've done here is we've calculated the distance from each point of the outside to the center there, our mean. So now we need to find the average of the distances. We're going to find the average of the distances, so we're going to add each of these up, each of these differences up, and then divide by the total number that there are. So to find the MAD, we're going to add each of these up. So we're going to do 35 plus 40 plus 30 plus 15 plus 40 plus 30. We're going to take each of these, we're going to add all of them up, and divide that by the number that there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So if we add these all together, we're going to get 210. Divide that by 6, and we're going to get 35. So this tells us that, on average, Akila's test scores are 35 points away from the mean. Akila's test scores are 35 points away from the mean. So that means that she is not a consistent test taker. Because her MAD is so high, a high MAD means that we have low consistency. That means that she does not test well because she's inconsistent with her test scores. Let's take a look at question number 2. The dot plot below shows the time that Danielle had for running 6 miles during cross-country practice over the past 2 weeks. Calculate the MAD of Danielle's training time. So we're going to have to find first the mean, and we're going to find that by adding up all the values of our dot plot and then dividing that by the number of values that there are. So we have a 67 right here. We have a 60. Oh my goodness, that was terrible. I'm going to have to erase all this. So we are finding the mean. Sorry, that got really sloppy. I don't know why. So we're adding up all of our values here and then dividing by the number of values that there are. So we're going to take 67, our first dot, plus 68, our second dot, plus we have two 70s, plus two 71s, plus two 72s, plus 73, plus 74. 74. So adding up all these values here, and there are a total of 10 of them. So if we add all of them up, we get 708 over 10 is 70.8. So Daniela's average time for running 6 miles is going to be 70.8 minutes. Now our next step is to find the distance, and that's going to be somewhere in here. We want to find the distance of each of these points to the mean. How far are they from the mean, and what is the average of that going to be? Step 2 is going to be find, first step in MAD, is to find the distance from each point to the center. I'm only going to do like 2 of these, I think, because it takes a while. And I think you can probably figure it out from here. So we're going to do 67, absolute value of 67 minus 70.8. So to find the distance there between those two, 67 minus 70.8 is going to be 3.8. So that means that her between the average time and what she ran 67 minutes, was 3.8 minutes. So this is the next one, 68 minus 70.8. That's going to give us 2.8. So that's going to mean she was 2.8 minutes slower than her average time. So if we take a look at the next value, that's going to be 70. We're going to do 70 minus 70.8. This gives us a value of 0.8. So that's how we do this. We go through each of these and we would find all of the values. Then to find MAD, we would add all of them up. I'm not going to do that right now. I want you to do that independently. We're going to get 16.4 is going to be the difference of all of our values. We're going to divide that by 10. And our mean average, so this is going to be step 3, our mean absolute deviation is going to be 1.6. So on average, this means that Daniela was 1.6 off of her average time. This means that she is actually a pretty consistent runner. She's within 1.6 minutes on average of her average time, so this is going to be a pretty consistent runner, Danielle. Already for question 3, I want you to pause. I want you to answer this one independently. I want you to answer this independently so that you have a chance to practice it. And please resume the video when you're done practicing the problem. Alright, I'm going to assume that you finished practicing, so let's go through this. The data for performance on 2 groups of students on a recent test is shown below in percents. We have group 1, and then we have group 2 as well. Awesome. So, group 1, we're going to find the average here first. The mean, I can just give that to us, is going to be all the numbers added together divided by 5. And our mean there, sorry, let me get to my notes, is going to be 69.4. And our mean for this group of data is going to be 75.6. Next, we need to find the mean absolute deviation. So we're going to take each of these points and so this is going to be group 1. We're going to take each of these points and do 54 minus the mean, 69.4. That's going to give us a different value each time. So for this one, we got 15.4. For a second point, 58, we do 58 minus 69.4. That's going to give us 11.4. Our third point, 68 minus 69.4. That just gives us 1.4. Do that again, 68 minus 69.4. That also gives us 1.4. And then we have 99 minus 69.4. That's going to give us 29.6. So we're going to add all of these up. We're going to add all these up and divide it by 6. When we add them all up, we get 59.2 over 5. It's going to give us a MAD of 11.84. And then it's going to give us the second one. It's going to be 2.88. We're going to find out the exact same way. So we're asked which group is more consistent in their performance on the test, and to explain. So it's going to be group 2. A lower MAD means that they are more consistent, Lower MAD means that they are more consistent with the data that they found. So, and we can also see that here that our numbers are a lot closer together. Here we have 54, 58, 68, 68, and 99. This person's clearly less consistent with test taker than the people in group 2. Alrighty, once again, I want you to pause. I want you to pause the video and then solve these two on your own and resume when you are ready to answer the questions. Alright, let's take a look at question number 4. I hope you've attempted this yourself. Dylan and Thea are comparing their test scores in science class for their unit test. They decided to find the mean absolute deviation of their test scores. Dylan scores a MAD of 6.5, so Dylan is 6.5. and Theo is 20.4. So which statement below is going to be true? So Dylan's a more consistent test taker because his test scores are farther than the mean from Neo's. That doesn't make sense. His MAD is lower than Theo's. Theo's a more consistent test taker because his test scores are farther from the mean than Dylan's. His test scores are farther from the mean. That means he's less consistent. So that means that C is going to be correct. C is going to be correct. Dylan is a more consistent test taker because his test scores are closer to the mean than Theo's. So C is going to be our correct answer there. Then for question number 5, this one takes a while. I want you to try this one on your own. This is a really great chance to attempt it. And then come to my office hours later if you still have questions about it. SF represents San Francisco, and M is for Miami. That's going to be it for today. Make sure that you are doing all your work, submitting the classwork and homework. I'm going to be sending some messages home later for people that have not submitted all their classwork. Everyone who does all these things and gets 37 points can get a $3 Amazon gift card. I'm going to be sending out some messages later today about that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see everybody